Okay, so uh, basically this video is just gonna like tie up a couple loose ends and stuff, and we got a bunch of video to edit. So I'm gonna try and finish this up pretty quick, but basically I've covered a bunch of ideas. I mean, I still have a ton of stuff left that I'm not letting go of. That's why I'm basically like not really afraid to do this because I'm not really giving up that much really. So. There's a ton of ideas. There you go. But ideas totally aren't even worth anything though, right? Well, they definitely aren't if you're not gonna like build them out, monetize them, and protect them. That's for sure. Has anybody else trying to get a patent? I mean, it costs like $4,000. That's bullshit. I mean, you can get like a provisional patent for like $200, but you might be like flushing $200 down the drain if you don't know what you're doing. Like, you really need to like spend like $200, and then like spend like, I don't know, like I'm just gonna throw out $1,000 on like legal advice, and then pay the $4,000 whatever you need to pay for the patent. And I don't know where I got that information, but I'm pretty sure like somewhere between like $3,000 and $5,000 is accurate for a patent. And so like in these videos alone, like I described at least a dozen unpatented ideas. And patents are supposed to protect inventors and innovators, yet I can't afford that. Like, I feel like the price of patents is like way up there. Like, how am I even like? So I can either like choose to like, work like a full time job and pour all my time into doing that, and not really have much time left to like innovate and stuff, and not actually have the time to do the work to get the patent, or I can be like unemployed and like not really. I hate complaining about this, but I mean I could be like unemployed and not like really be capable of getting the patent. So like, I don't know. I'm not exactly someone who thought they would be patenting anything like 5 years ago. Like if you had asked me like 5 years ago if I was gonna patent something, I'd be like, man, probably not. I might tell you like maybe, or maybe I would have tended to be to be very overconfident, but which leads me into uh, the next point, which is that over the past few years, I've realized that I'm not really like as intelligent as I'd like to think that I am. I'm not really as smart as I would like to think that I am. But actually, this has like become like motivation for me to like double down on my efforts. Like realizing that like there's like 22-year-old kids out there whose like brains like function like way better than I do. It's like become like kind of motivation for me to like really focus and like work hard on learning this stuff, and to like really appreciate it when someone like excels at this kind of stuff just like naturally, even though like I tend to put in a lot more effort. Um, and I feel like the case of my education is like sort of like the tortoise and the hare. Like I dropped out of college, and let's let's not pretend like I dropped out of college basically to smoke weed and jam skate. I mean, basically like I just didn't realize that college was the thing that I needed to do, and that I would not really be happy if I didn't learn the things that I was supposed to learn in college. Um, and so instead I sort of like went my own way, and I got a little bit scared when I originally dropped out of college because I was worried that I was gonna end up being unemployed or working some kind of minimum wage job. I didn't really know what I was gonna do, so that kind of like was the impetus to like get me to start working with technology, networking, and like Cisco, so that was and that taught me a lot about how the internet worked, and I feel like that's missing in a lot of programmers. Like they understand like most networking, but they don't understand like routing protocols. They don't know what like OSPF is. They don't They might know. They probably know like how trace route works and how like packets are like transferred between routers, and they probably know layer 2 and layer 3, and they might even know like how frames are like encoded on the wire or whatever. They aren't aware of like BGF exploits and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm sure there are a ton of people out there that do. I'm not trying to say that, but I feel like that's like kind of missing. And so after I got into Cisco networking, I started learning more about VoIP, and I learned a lot about like data centers and you know call center reporting, and like I was like just stunned by the amount of information that you could collect from like call center records, and how you could like reconstruct things and how you could generate reports. Like that's like for some reason I just had like no idea that like that would be possible. And I know a lot of like people in technology, I feel like they should have like a better idea of like what is possible, because they were in school and they were getting exposed to that stuff, and I just like wasn't even paying attention until it like hit me right in the face when I was like working with like call center reporting and stuff. Like I was like, whoa, you can collect a lot of information about like who people contact, and like it's amazing. And so then eventually like I got into like SQL Server and like databases, and then I discovered that SQL was not really as scalable as it would. Yeah, I was introduced to Ruby on Rails, and I got into the startup world, and I just like throughout my life I've tried to like continue working to learn as much as possible about the world, and so and I hope to. I still have so much to learn, and there's not enough time really. I want to learn more about like history, and I want to learn like I want to be proficient with French and Japanese, and I want to learn Mandarin, and I want to learn like all these different languages. Um, I just don't have as much time as I'd like to, and I'm not really in the position to do it. Like, and so like whereas like I feel like a lot of people have spent 4 years like buckling down and like learning like a ton. Like I've spent like you know 10 or 12 years like just like maybe learning at a slower rate, maybe learning in a harder way, and kind of struggling with like certain basic things that would have been like obvious had I studied like algorithms and like other things. Um, so I mean,